Well, hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is your host, KenDFoster. And today we're calling this show The Courage to Get Your Health Back. All right. So many of you out there are still having issues with health. And man, it's no fun living with disease in our body, is it? No, not at all. We want to eliminate disease completely out of our bodies. And for a lot of you, you haven't pursued maybe the avenues that you need to heal. Now, how do I say that to you? Because not knowing you, well, listen, I know this. I know that health is a quest. And if you have issues, health issues, that you need to get on the quest, right? So if you're going to, let's say, an individual, and bless their hearts, we got a lot of great doctors and practitioners out there. But if you're not getting the results that you need to get for you to heal, then this is the show for you. We're going to be talking about ways that you can look at your body, look at your health. Specifically, ladies, if you're having thyroid issues and you've got some of the thyroid symptoms that we'll be talking about today, Hashimoto's disease. I know people close to me have had that. And can you heal that? Well, we're going to find that out today, but I'm going to give you a hint. Good chance you can. If you get on the quest, right? The quest is for natural healing. All right, I have a very special guest today on my show. He's a practitioner for decades, and he's a doctor. He's a person that has knowledge and wisdom about how to help you heal. So I hope you'll stay tuned. I got to take a quick break. And we take the break, we'll be right back, and we'll have our guest.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. Call right now for your free book, and as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-510-0470.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call now.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day and injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call now and learn how to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Hi, JJ's back because this is important. Do you know if your Medicare Advantage plan benefits are changing this year? Are your costs and copays going up? Is your doctor still covered? During the annual enrollment period, you can call to find out all the changes to your coverage. Plus, see if you're eligible for a plan with the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every month. AEP has a deadline, so don't delay. Call now.
I called to find a plan with lower copays and more dental coverage.
I called to see if my zip code has a plan with the benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to make sure my doctors are still in my plan.
Extra benefits, extra money. Dynamite! AEP has a deadline, so don't delay. Call now.
Call 1-800-957-1821. That's 1-800-957-1821 now.
Well, welcome back, everybody, and welcome my guest, Dr. Gil Kajiki. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ken.
You know, we've got health crisis around this world. It's like it's never been before. And I think that, as I mentioned in the opening, there's, once we get on a quest and realize that we need to take charge of our own bodies, we need to take charge of responsibility for our bodies. And once we start to do that and stop turning it over to maybe people are well intentioned, but may not have the right answers for you, we can get on this quest and start to heal. Let me give you a formal introduction first before we get into the questions. Dr. Kajiki is a certified functional medicine practitioner. He's a chiropractor and patient educator with clients in 4 continents. He is revolutionizing the way that hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's autoimmune thyroid are diagnosed and corrected using a drug-free solution. Dr. Kajiki creates his personalized programs with dietary changes, nutritional supplements, vitamins, minerals, and enzymes, and lifestyle enhancements to improve lab test results and reduce symptoms. Okay. I know this is true. How do I know this is true? We can heal naturally because, as I was telling Dr. Kajiki, my wife was diagnosed with Hashimoto's and thyroid disease, and was able to heal that naturally, right? So, doctor, how'd you get into this?
Similar story as yours, Ken, is I was a chiropractor just doing a lot of musculoskeletal work, headaches, back pain, scoliosis. And then my wife started coming down with all of these different symptoms. I didn't know they were hypothyroid. I just knew she was fatigued, had hair loss, weight gain, depression, insomnia, digestive issues, heart palpitations, just a whole myriad of things. And she went to a couple doctors. All the doctors said her lab tests were normal. You're just under a lot of stress. You're traveling a lot. You've got 2 teenage kids. Long story short, I ended up finding out she had Hashimoto's. And you could read about her story in my book, but I went to the hospital where she was at for a week before Christmas. And I said, "Hey, I know what's going on. You have Hashimoto's." And her doctor happened to be there. And he said, "You're right." He looked at the test. "You're right. You do have Hashimoto." I said, "Great. What are we going to do?" And he said, "Well, we're going to give her some Synthroid." And I said to him, "But isn't Synthroid a thyroid medication?" He said, "So why are you going to treat an autoimmune condition with a thyroid medication?" And he said, "Because that's the way we do it in conventional medicine." And I knew at that point she was not going to get the help from conventional medicine. And I had to find other methods. And I sought out my colleagues who knew more than me. And I went to seminars and I read books. And I just absorbed this information about how can I get my wife's Hashimoto's in remission naturally without medication. And 18 months later, we were able to do that. And I thought, she can't be the only one. And so my practice went from musculoskeletal chiropractic to full virtual remote consulting for autoimmune and Hashimoto's thyroid conditions.
Why don't we identify the two? Okay, autoimmune versus Hashimoto, and are they interrelated at all?
Yeah, good question. Autoimmune means your own immune system is mistakenly attacking your own healthy body tissue. Hashimoto's is an autoimmune thyroid condition. So your own immune system's attacking your own thyroid. Rheumatoid arthritis means your own immune system is attacking your own joints. Crohn's means your own immune system is attacking your own intestinal tract. So you have autoimmunity as a big category, and then you have different variations of autoimmunity.
I get it. Okay. Why does the body attack itself?
Wow, you just asked the $1 million question. We really don't exactly know. We do know that there are multiple factors. Typically, it's a genetic disposition. So if you've got family history of autoimmunity, you've already got strike one against you. So we got genetic disposition. We have some kind of environmental trigger. Could be personal stress, psychological stress, a physical injury, exposure to mold. It could be, a whole number of outside in factors that turn on these genes. And then there is some debate as to whether it's a intestinal permeability issue where your gut lining becomes permeable to foreign objects that it shouldn't have, and 80% of your immune system is housed in your gut. So what I believe is that you have this perfect storm of genetic disposition, intestinal permeability, environmental trigger. They all come together at once, and then you turn on the genes for autoimmunity. That's my belief.
Yeah, it seems like, from my point of view, and I'm not a doctor, but I've, been exposed to a lot of health quests, let's call it.
Yeah.
There's really only one disease, and that seems to be toxicity in the body, wherever it comes from.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say it's a quest to heal. In your mind, doctor, can we heal pretty much anything?
I believe there are always cases of miraculous healing that you can't explain. So I think every disease can be healed. Will it? What's the odds that it will? I haven't seen autoimmune completely healed. I've seen it go into remission. I've seen it managed and controlled. But I also believe that if you go back to bad habits, go back to those environmental toxins, that autoimmunity will come roaring right back.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah. So how much of this is lifestyle, would you say, when you're having an autoimmune disease?
I'm going to say it could vary from like 25% to 90%. I mean, your lifestyle involves your emotions. It involves your sleep patterns. It involves your physical activity. It involves your eating habits. It involves so many factors that you can't overlook the lifestyle. It's not just about changing somebody's diet and giving them some supplements to swallow. That lifestyle is critical.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Well, the world is honestly in a health crisis today for many reasons. And I'm just okay, so somebody's listening to this right now and they're thinking, yeah, okay, the world's in a health crisis. Well, I'm in my crisis too, and I'm not sure what my symptoms are. Do I have thyroid disease? Do I have Hashimoto's? What are some of the common symptoms of the thyroid problems?
Well, that's the tricky part about thyroid is it's this great mimicker because you could have fatigue, weight gain, hair loss, insomnia, depression, digestive problems, heart palpitations. I mean, there's this myriad of symptoms you could have. How do you know it's thyroid? Maybe it's your adrenal gland dysfunction. Maybe it's intestinal permeability. Maybe it's mold toxicity. Maybe it's just psychological. It's so hard to really know that unless you have a doctor that has experience with that to start to narrow it down to see, is it thyroid? Is it adrenal? Is it thyroid and Hashimoto's? Is it Hashimoto's and adrenal? You really there's a lot of moving components in that. You really have to find somebody who can start narrowing it down.
Okay. Well, all right. And I think you mentioned a little earlier some of the symptoms of the you mentioned a couple of times, the fatigue, hair loss, and all those things. What, if we go, my wife was a similar story to yours. She went to, some MDs and they wanted to give her certain steroids and things of that nature that she decided that maybe that's not what she wanted to put in her body. I want to ask you about maybe some healthy choices that we can make and maybe some natural ways to maybe start to heal some of these things. But I do have to take a break, so we'll answer that when we get back.
Okay.
Attention cancer victims who use the weed killer Roundup. A federal jury unanimously found that Monsanto's popular weed killer Roundup was a substantial factor in causing cancer. You may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you or someone you love used Roundup and were diagnosed with cancer, call the number on your screen now. Don't wait. There may be time deadlines to file a claim.
Call 800-506-2151. That's 800-506-2151.
Do you listen to the TV on high volume or have trouble hearing conversations? then you would benefit from hearing aids. Don't waste thousands on expensive hearing aids when you can get Nano's revolutionary technology just $347. Don't be fooled by higher-priced hearing aids. The CIC Recharge is a true hearing aid, not an amplifier. With rechargeable technology, many customers say is superior to more expensive models. Call now and get not one, but 2 Nano hearing aids for just $347. Plus, we'll add a portable charging dock and ship your order absolutely free. The CIC Recharge has a tiny in-the-ear canal design that is nearly invisible. Why keep missing out on important conversations or waste thousands of dollars? Call and get 2 CIC Recharge hearing aids for only $347 and free shipping. Call now.
800-817-7419. Again, that's 800-817-7419.
Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. Guess what? They want your money and they can take it, all of it if they want. Remember, they sent you that letter right over here that said, hey, you owe us a bunch of cash and we're going to take it from you right now. So what do? You fight back by letting our team of experts work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. And hey, we're good at what we do. When you hire us, you get a team of guys on your side that know the IRS laws, and we'll fight really hard to save your money. So, if you owe the IRS a ton of cash and you want to keep it, call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket. 5 minutes of your time right now can save you thousands of dollars. And the best part, it's a free call, so please call right now.
I've written a new book. It's called The Courage to Change Everything, Daily Strategies and Wisdom to Unlock Your Genius, your soul, and to transform your life. So it's daily strategies. I wrote this specifically because over the years I've noticed in my own life and in the lives of my clients that, listen, a little inspiration doesn't get it. A little wisdom doesn't get it. A little action doesn't get it. It's daily, dripping on the mind, dripping on those actions, taking specific focused actions towards your dreams and setting specific goals, right? Goals help us to transform the little self into the possibilities that we have in each of us. All of us are given dreams, and if you're sitting there and you're not manifesting that dream, it's just a little bit of you is chipping away every day that's not happening until you finally wake up and say, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to connect with something greater than myself, my force, my God, my life, my universe, whatever. I don't care what you call it. You tune into that force, and that's what's going to get you to the next level.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This is your host, KenDFoster. I'm interviewing Dr. Gil Kajiki, and we're talking about health, your health, and how you can maybe get your health back. Okay, so natural ways to heal. Is there really natural ways to heal, or is this something that we're making up? I don't know.
I believe there are natural ways to heal. I also believe at times medications are necessary. And I think as the primary doctor, I have to make that decision on what is really necessary that's a medical issue and what can we do naturally. Now, in the natural realm, I'll tell you, I hesitate to answer this question many times because you can't know what to do until you know what's wrong. Everybody wants to know, what supplement do I take? What diet do I do? What kind of exercises can I do? But unless you know what's wrong, you can't know what to do. So I always want to go back to, well, what's wrong first? And then let's figure out what we can do. So do you have an adrenal dysfunction? If you do, what kind? What type of thyroid issue do you have? What kind of autoimmune condition do you have? What's your blood sugar stability like? What kind of food sensitivities do you have? So once I start to narrow down really where those dysfunctions are, then I can create some supplemental protocols or some dietary changes or lifestyle changes at that point.
That makes sense. So is the first step maybe setting up an appointment and then doing some blood work? Is that what we're talking about, or really kind of looking at what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. The patient history is critical. I mean, I give my patients a 14-page intake that I actually read. None of my doctors read my intake. I wonder, why do you even make me do this exercise? But I actually read it. So I oftentimes know what's going on before I even talk to that person. So I really put some time into my patient history. And then my lab tests, my blood, my stool, saliva, dried urine, hair, that all helps me confirm what type of these dysfunctions that I'm looking for, that I call triggers. And that helps me start to formulate my treatment protocol to know what to do.
Okay, good. And if somebody's on, let's say, a medication for thyroid,
Yeah.
do you keep them on it? Do you take them off? How do you determine that?
The lab test will determine. Sometimes I feel like people are inappropriately medicated, but it's not my position, because I didn't prescribe that medication, to tell them to stop it, start it, or change it. But I will advise them on, well, here, maybe you might want to talk to your subscribing doctor about this, because the numbers and your symptoms show that it's too high a dose, too low a dose, maybe the improper medication, but you and your prescribing doctor have to make that decision.
Yeah. That makes choice. I personally, I've been coaching people for the last 26 years, and I coach from results, right? What are the results you're getting? And if you're not getting the results you want, it's that old adage: if you keep doing it over and over again, you're expecting different results. That's on you. You're kind of like cuckoo. Why would you do that, right?
Right.
And yet, in the medical field, we have so many people, and people have come into my practice. I'm not a doctor, but I just say, hey, well, what's the results you're getting? What do you want?
Right.
And if you're not getting it, it's time to change. It's time to change something up, right?
Yeah.
I think we have this mindset that and I believe some doctors, some practitioners say, well, you'll be on this forever. This is your life. And
Yeah.
for some, maybe that's true, but others, maybe it's not.
Right. And I think regarding that statement, you're right. Every patient is on thyroid medication for life. But my attitude is, well, let's do some natural things. See if we can decrease some of these toxins going into your body that are causing your thyroid to malfunction. And let's retest periodically, 6 months to a year, and see if you really do still need to be on medication or not.
That's good. So what are some of the treatments for thyroid disease? What do people have to look forward to?
Well, once again, as I mentioned, you have to find out what's wrong before you can know what to do. Now, there are 6 major ways that thyroid gland can malfunction. Only one of them responds to medication. So you've got roughly about a 72% chance that your medication won't be effective. So you've got to know, do I really need the medication? Is it a conversion problem? Is it an underconversion problem? Is it a thyroid binding globulin problem? Is it thyroid resistance? So you really got to know what type of dysfunction there is before you know what to do. And that lab test, a full thyroid panel of all 10 tests will tell me that.
Yeah, that's very good. I want to move over into maybe the cost of some of these treatments. Sometimes people are, they're hooked into their insurance provider. They may have a PPO or maybe have an HMO, but they want to, they want to make sure insurance covers all this. And I'm just going to give my point of view, and then you can, because I don't know whether you take insurance or not. But I want to just say that I don't think we should value our health by the cost of an insurance program. Or if somebody's outside of an insurance program, myself and my wife, have gone outside of our program several times to get the alternative treatments that we need to be able to heal completely. So we're pain free, and we're up in the years now, but we're pain free in our bodies because we notice we're on a quest, right? But anyway, let's just talk about that. What's the cost of your treatment?
Yeah. Well, cost always varies on complexity of the case. So that's just understand. It's just like a car, right? Here, how complex the case is depends upon what the cost is. And I don't know that cost until I get to those lab test results. So I really need that first set of lab results to set a baseline for me to know, well, what's going on, how long this is going to take, how much it's going to cost. And then, like you said, it's a quest. It may take 4 months, it may take 12 months, may take 16 months, may take 7 months. We don't really know, but we'll test periodically along the way to make sure we're on the right track.
Okay, that's great. Well, listen, in our next segment, we're going to be talking about your latest book that's out there, Sick, Tired, Untreated, and Abandoned. And we're going to be talking a lot about that and how you can get that book. But I do have to take a break, so we will be right back.
Attention cancer victims who use the weed killer Roundup. A federal jury unanimously found that Monsanto's popular weed killer Roundup was a substantial factor in causing cancer. You may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you or someone you love used Roundup weed killer and were diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, call the number on your screen now. The World Health Organization has designated glyphosate, the main ingredient in Roundup weed killer, a probable human carcinogen. Thousands of agriculture workers may have been exposed to serious health risks by using this dangerous product. You may be owed significant financial compensation from the manufacturer. Call and speak to an experienced attorney today for a free consultation. If you don't win, you pay nothing. If you or someone you love used Roundup and were diagnosed with cancer, call the number on your screen now. Don't wait. There may be time deadlines to file a claim.
Call 800-925-7921. That's 800-925-7921.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Diabetics understand all too well the pain of pricking your fingers, but now by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor or CGM, you can immediately reduce your pain. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 or more times daily, injecting insulin 3 or more times daily, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now.
Are you feeling stuck or in a holding pattern with your business or life and you're not doing the things you want or love? Then at some point, you're going to be faced with a decision. You'll either choose to keep living in your comfort zone and risk a life of mediocrity, or increase your courage, step into your power, and forge into the unknown, where everything new becomes possible. If you're truly ready to live masterfully, then you need KenDFoster's newest book, The Courage to Change Everything, Strategies and Wisdom to Transform Your Life One Day at a Time. This powerful but simple guide provides you with 365 days of life-transforming wisdom, profound questions, and action steps that will increase your strength and open the doors to success. Stop wondering why your business or life isn't working. The answers are available now. Imagine if you had more courage or another chance to start following your dreams. To pick up your copy of The Courage to Change Everything, visit thecouragetochangeeverything.com. That's thecouragetochangeeverything.com.
Hi, this is KenDFoster. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about how to get your health back. I'm talking with Dr. Gil Kajiki, and for those of you that don't know him, he's a certified functional medicine practitioner. He's a chiropractor, and he's a patient educator with clients in 4 continents right now. You need to have more continents, doctor. Yeah, just 4, huh? Very good. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this amazing book that is out there now that people can find out a lot about themselves and the treatment of what we've been talking about. What inspired you to write Sick, Tired, Untreated, and Abandoned?
Well, after doing this for a number of years, I started really listening to the patient's main complaint about why they were seeking out my care. And it turns out that their doctors have just pretty much abandoned them. Their doctors just said, look, your lab tests are normal. I don't know what to tell you. Go away, in a sense. And so I really did kind of a bold title there because I wanted people to know, like, I get it. I understand what's happening. This happened to my wife too. And so this is about, what do I do on the next step? I'm tired, I'm fatigued, I'm frustrated, my doctor can't help me, my lab tests are normal. What do I do next? And so this is about the next step. How do I figure out what's wrong with me so I can get on this quest for healing? And I talk about the evaluations, the lab testing. I primarily talk about something called triggers. I have something that I call triggers. And I have 9 very common triggers that I look for and treat. It's not all of them, but the 9 most common. So in this book, I go over in detail about looking for anemia, blood sugar instability, adrenal gland dysfunction, hormone imbalance, inflammation, gastrointestinal problems, food sensitivities, chemical sensitivities, and hidden infections. Those same triggers are the same triggers that agitate the immune system and cause the immune system to attack the thyroid or attack the joints or attack your intestinal tract. But those triggers are also body dysfunctions that very closely mimic a thyroid problem, but isn't a thyroid problem. Wow. So the patient is taking their thyroid medication, their lab tests are normal, but they still have all of these thyroid symptoms, and their doctor just dismisses them because their lab tests are normal. Well, there's got to be something else going on. And so I look for these triggers.
That's interesting. Yeah. So even though the lab tests are normal, there can be issues going on. How come the lab tests don't reveal what's going on? That's interesting.
Yes, and I tell patients, look, there's no way your lab test can be normal and you still have all these symptoms. That's impossible. That can't be. So there's typically 3 reasons why. Is the doctors are reading the tests wrong, they're doing the wrong tests, or not doing enough of them, likely all 3. And that issue comes that if you choose to get your opinions about your health from conventional medicine, understand and accept the fact that they are influenced by the pharmaceutical and insurance companies. So those insurance companies will only do what's medically necessary to prescribe medication or surgery. They won't dig any further. So typically they'll only do 3 out of 10 thyroid tests. And if those 3 come out normal, you're stuck. They won't do any more.
Interesting. You know, I was recently in Los Angeles, and we went to get some blood drawn, and it was a major blood drawing facility, and they had on their window, we test for 3,000 different issues. And I thought, oh my goodness, no wonder they can get it wrong. They got 3,000 ways to go. Wow. I thought that, and I thought, well, that's kind of cool. 3,000 markers in your body. That's very interesting. Do you use kinesiology at all in the practice today?
I don't, because I have a virtual practice.
Yeah.
So I've used kinesiology, and I know that kinesiology is very, very effective when you're one-on-one engaging physically with that patient. But because I'm virtual, I don't use kinesiology. I primarily rely on my lab tests, markers, and my patient history.
Okay, good. And back to the book, that just came up, that question, but back to the book. What would you say for those that read that book are some of the takeaways that they'll have with reading that book?
I think one of the biggest ones is they're going to realize that you can't just heal just from changing your diet. Many, many patients have said, I've stopped gluten, I've stopped dairy, and I still feel lousy. Yeah, because that's only 1 out of 9 of those triggers. And in the food sensitivity category, there's probably 10 or 15 different foods that you need to stay away from temporarily. So they're realizing that, hey, I'm going to go from, I don't know what to do next, to, ooh, there's 9 triggers. Maybe now I've narrowed it down from I don't know what to do to 9 triggers. And now how do I find out which of these triggers I have? I do these types of lab tests. And now I just have to find a practitioner that does these types of lab tests and looks for these triggers, and I'm going to be on the right path.
That's awesome. I'm glad you mentioned that you're virtual, because so many people today are listening to this. In fact, they're listening to this show around the world. We're syndicated in 185 countries. And so if you're listening out there, one of the things I did say, and I want to emphasize this, is that Dr. Kajiki has patients on 4 continents. So if you're listening to this, you can give him a call, or you can connect with him. We put it on the screen, drkajiki.com, and that's spelled KAJIKI.com, drkajiki.com. So if you're listening to this, now your consultations, do you have the stuff so our clients or our audience knows?
Yeah, I do all my international consultations through Zoom or Skype. I do all my domestic through phone. But I've treated people in Canada and New Zealand and Germany and even China. If you have an internet signal, a phone line, and you can get something delivered, I can work with you.
That's great. That's great. And the book. Let me jump back to the book one more time. Where can people get the book?
Well, actually, the book you can get on my website. You can go to drkajiki.com and you can get the Amazon link to buy the book, and Amazon will ship it out to you as soon as you order.
Okay. So that makes it easy. All righty.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. I've got so many questions for you around these autoimmune diseases and how to heal them. I'm wondering a couple things. So give me an example, like somebody comes in and and I know you can't diagnose or treat, I just want a general sense of, what happens when somebody calls you, they get on the internet with you, they're on Zoom, you're talking about it. What typically takes place?
So I really want to hear the history. I want to hear, when did it start? How long have you had it? When does it bother you? And then I want to know these symptoms, because the symptoms tell me where I want to start looking for these triggers. So they may tell me, I have fatigue, I have hair loss, I have insomnia, I have digestive issues. And from there, I can start determining, well, what kind of trigger am I looking for? Am I looking for an anemia trigger, an adrenal dysfunction trigger, a gastrointestinal trigger, a hidden infection trigger? And then I could start asking for the lab tests that would confirm that they do have those triggers or not. So that first consultation is about finding out about what's bothering them, what kind of triggers do I think they have, and then I'll order the appropriate lab test to confirm those triggers.
Okay, great. And from my edification, what type of alternative treatments might one experience through you?
Well, for example, inflammation is a big component of every disease process. There is no disease process that occurs without inflammation as a perpetuator or initiator of that condition. So inflammation is huge. So I would put them on a de-inflammatory eating plan, where I take away all these potentially inflammatory foods like dairy and gluten and soy, nightshades, sometimes even nuts and seeds. And then I give them some very powerful anti-inflammatory liposomal supplements to start calming down that inflammation, while I look for what the root cause of how that inflammation got started and continued.
What are some of the symptoms of inflammation in the gut? What would you say?
I mean, one of the obvious ones is bloating. If your stomach is bloating out, if you're feeling bloating 10, 15 minutes after you eat, it's probably higher up in the digestive tract, like the stomach. If you're feeling it 30 minutes to an hour after you eat, it's probably lower down in the small intestine. So I can kind of identify what part of that digestion that inflammation is in based on your symptoms that you tell me. Diarrhea is a sign of inflammation. Your body wants to get that out because there's some inflammation or irritation in that colon. So it wants to get it out of there. There's a very strong connection between brain and gut. So many times you might feel brain fog after you eat something that bloats you. So that connection, now there's inflammation in the brain that came from the gut.
Well, I think a lot of people have that brain fog. I sure come across a lot of people like that. I want to talk a little bit more about that. I got to take another break. We'll be back in just a minute.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. Call right now for your free book, and as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-510-0470.
Are you feeling stuck or in a holding pattern with your business or life, and you're not doing the things you want or love? Then at some point, you're going to be faced with a decision. You'll either choose to keep living in your comfort zone and risk a life of mediocrity, or increase your courage, step into your power, and forge into the unknown, where everything new becomes possible. If you're truly ready to live masterfully, then you need KenDFoster's newest book, The Courage to Change Everything, Strategies and Wisdom to Transform Your Life One Day at a Time. This powerful but simple guide provides you with 365 days of life-transforming wisdom, profound questions, and action steps that will increase your strength and open the doors to success. Stop wondering why your business or life isn't working. The answers are available now. Imagine if you had more courage or another chance to start following your dreams. To pick up your copy of The Courage to Change Everything, visit thecouragetochangeeverything.com. That's thecouragetochangeeverything.com.
Welcome back, everybody. This is KenDFoster. I'm talking with Dr. Gil Kajiki, and we're talking ways that are revolutionizing medicine, quite frankly, in ways that you can start to heal thyroidism, thyroid disease, Hashimoto's disease, things of that nature. So, doctor, one of the symptoms of course, these diseases is brain fog. A lot of people have that, and yet they say, "Oh, I'm just getting old," or "Oh, this is temporary," or "Oh, is this this is all connected, isn't it?"
It very much is. There's a very strong brain gut connection that people, we don't even really think about it, but you see something that really makes you sick to your stomach. You visually saw it, your brain processed the picture, and now you feel it in your gut. So there's a very strong brain gut connection. And whenever there's any kind of mood disorders, behavioral disorders, poor thought processing, poor concentration, I always look to that gut first. I want to fix that gut first. I want to take away what's causing the inflammation, what's causing the irritation. Is there an infection in there? Do you have proper digestion? And then we'll see how much of those brain disorders start to clear up. And then I know that at that point, that gut is pretty much fixed. And then I can start working on what else is causing that brain dysfunction.
I love that. One of my teachers said, wisdom is the greatest cleanser. Well, it's the body, the emotions, whatever, it's the greatest cleanser. But wisdom is developed through experience. And you obviously have this experience in working with people. Is there anybody that comes in and they just can't heal? Like they're not going to get any benefit?
I don't believe that. I believe every case can improve. It may not be completely healed and resolved, but I always want to give people hope that, look, we can make it better. We don't know how much better. Maybe it's going to be 50% better. Maybe it's going to be 95% better. But I believe every case can improve. And if I find those lab markers that are abnormal and I work on those triggers, I can say almost every case has gotten better. If that patient did their part and I did my part, every case has gotten better.
Doctor, how do you get people out of denial that they actually have a disease or that they need to really do something different?
I don't think you can deny objective lab markers. I think when I do blood panels and I show them their abnormal markers and what triggers there are, and I show them their stool tests and I show them they have a dysbiosis, an imbalance of their good bacteria, or they have an infection, I don't think you can deny those. That's objective evidence, and you can't deny looking at a piece of paper with your own results that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well, what we deny persists. And, I think that, there are some people that might be a little concerned even coming to see you because they maybe don't want the diagnosis. They're like, well, what I don't know won't hurt me. I'm not sure that that's true, but.
Yeah. Right. And that's one of the reasons why I really stay away from the diagnosis. I stay away from the labels because diagnoses really, it's just to bill insurance. Because if you don't have a diagnosis, you can't bill insurance. They'll deny it. So I stay away from the diagnosis. The diagnosis doesn't tell you how to treat it. It doesn't matter if it's called ALS or ABC or PCOS or 1, 2, 3. It doesn't tell you how to treat it. But if you look for those triggers and you see how those triggers relate to their symptoms. And I say, you've got adrenal dysfunction. Let's find out what type. You have blood sugar instability. Let's find out what type. You have digestive dysfunction. You find out what type. It's not so scary as having that label, and there's something we can actually work on.
That's really good. What would you say your the difference between your work and, let's say, somebody goes to endocrinologist?
Well, if you go to an endocrinologist and they are in conventional medicine, they are going to look for pathology and disease. And if they don't find pathology or disease, you're considered normal and you will be dismissed. So if they do find pathology disease, they're going to use medication or surgery to resolve that. And so you have to decide if you want to go that route or not.
That's good. What what you've been doing this for a while. So, is there any new trends showing up with thyroid patients or Hashimoto disease, or what kind of trends do you see happening out there?
Well, the research, I try to keep up on research as much as I can. And there's a lot more to this immune system than we ever thought there was, especially with COVID come around. We're really researching the immune system. And why is it that people who didn't get any vaccinations never came down with COVID? How is that possible when almost everyone has? Fortunately, my wife and I, we've never come down with any symptoms of COVID. We're out in public all the time.
Right.
So there's something about my immune system that's very resistant to this virus that my body has never seen before. So we're learning more and more about immune system function and how to really prevent disease rather than get it and then try to treat it.
Well, shouldn't we be studying you? we should be studying. We should be studying people that got the results that we all want, right? They didn't get the disease.
Yes, and I'm very much like you. Is like I've got insurance in case I break my arm or crack my head open, but other than that, I don't use my insurance because they don't suit my needs for preventative health care and natural health care. So I pay tons of money out of pocket for lab testing and supplementation and organic foods. Yeah, it's expensive and it's a hassle, but I'm well.
I tend to, we only eat organic. We've been doing that for years, and I tend to see that it's just a preventative today. Your food will not only taste better, they'll have more nutrients in there, but it's a good way to prevent any disease or illness. And it is a lifestyle. It is a lifestyle, and it looks like it costs more initially, but in the long run, if you're feeling healthy, you're vital, you're living longer, you're full of energy, your mind is clear, I don't, I can't see that that's costing you anything. But what it is, it's costing you if you're not really conscious, if you're not putting in the highest nutrition that you can into this body that we have. All right. So, what else can I ask you today, Doctor, that I haven't asked you about this these issues that we're talking about here?
Well, most people when they come consult with me, they want to know, can you help me? Right? I've been to 10 other doctors. I've spent thousands of dollars, and how do I know you're going to be able to help me when all these 10 doctors haven't been able to? And really, I tell people that, look, if you hear something different that you haven't heard before, you're probably going to get different results. And which of your doctors has addressed these triggers? Which of them has done stool testing and saliva testing and blood testing? Because that's really where you're going to find out what's going on. This is why they missed it. This is why you're still unhealthy, because they miss those basic triggers that are really causing your symptoms. It's not because you have a lack of thyroid medication. So let's find out why your thyroid is dysfunctioning first. Let's look for inflammation. Let's look for adrenal gland dysfunction. Let's look for gut dysbiosis. So I feel like people come to me for that different kind of answer, which means they're going to get a different kind of result.
I really like what you said. That it's the theme of my show is helping people to see the unseeable and know the unknowable and do the impossible. So, if you can't see something you haven't seen before, you're probably going to be down the same path that you've been before, and
Yeah.
that's what the good doctor is telling us today. So, I hope you'll take this time, to really be courageous, right? This show is all about courage. Well, sometimes it takes courage to make those phone calls or connect and reach out to practitioners that could really take you and your health to a whole new level. So, step into your courage. My question to you as an audience would be: if you were courageous today, if you're courageous, what are the 3 steps that you take today to heal your body completely? Okay, and if not completely, they're the highest and best it can possibly be. What are those 3 steps? Well, doctor, okay, we're going to wrap up here, but you got the microphone to the world right now. Okay, we're in 185 countries. So, what's your message to the world around health and nutrition and vitality and what we're talking about here today?
There's always hope. Okay. When people tell me I've been to everybody, you haven't been to everybody. There's always hope. There's always an answer out there. You just have to find it. And shows like yours are that first step in saying, maybe I'll check this out. Maybe this guy is onto something that I haven't heard before. Let me get his book and see what these triggers are. What kinds of lab testing does he do? Does this make sense for me? But don't lose hope for your health. There's always an answer out there.
That's the title of a new book, Hope for Your Health. I love it. Thank you for that. I'd like to show our audience one more time on the screen. We've got Sick, Tired, Untreated, and Abandoned. And you can get that at Dr. Kajabi's website. Doctor, can you give that website address one more time?
Yes, it's www.drkajiki.com, drkajiki.com.
drkajiki.com, not Kajabi. I've got Kajabi in my head. That's how we work with the Kajabi. So anyway, Dr. Kajiki, thank you so much for being here. And it's been an honor to listen to your wisdom and understanding around these issues. So appreciate it so much. And I wish you much success in all you do in the future here.
Thank you for your time, Ken. I appreciate it.
All righty. And all of you that continue to listen to the show, I want to thank you for tuning in, and I want to let you know that these shows are on our website, voicesofcourage.us. You can get all of our shows and that all of the past shows up there. You can also join our Insiders Club up there, and you can get information that is pertinent to you in different areas of your life. And you'll also get free tickets to some of the events. You'll get informed of some of these major events that are coming up. Right now, I'm in an event that is called the Global Oneness Summit. We have about 100 speakers on there that are talking about issues that of consciousness, of well-being, of health, nutrition, and helping you to raise up your thinking. So those kind of shows are you'll be informed of. So I hope you'll join our Insiders Club. And from my heart to yours, again, keep on looking for and seeking and know the unknowable, do the impossible, and have a blessed day. Take care.